Therapadana.
The Legends of the Theras. Supāricariya chapter the 17th. 161. Supāricariya. The one whose name was Paduma, the bull of men, the biped lord, Eiffel one setting out from the forest was then preaching Dhamma. There was a spirit multitude, staying close to the sage so great. Whatever work they'd arrived for, they looked after all of the time, understanding the Buddha's words, and preaching of the deathless state. With a pleased heart and happy mind, snapping my fingers I served him. Look at the fruit of good practice, of service for the great teacher. In 30,000 eons thence, I've come to know no bad rebirth. In the 2900th aeon, one man named Samādapaka was a wheel-turner with great strength, possessor of the 7 gems, the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Supāricariya Thera spoke these verses. The legend of Supāricariya Thera is finished. (162). Kanaverapupphiya. The blessed one named Siddhartha, the world's best one, the bull of men, honored by the monks' assembly, entered into the city then. In the king's inner chambers there, I lived as the trusted watchman. When I was inside the palace, I saw the Buddha world leader. Taking a Kanavera flower, I scattered it among the monks. Then I scattered some more of them. For him, the Buddha, separately. In the 94 eons since, I did that flower offering. I've come to know no bad rebirth, the fruit of flower offering. In the 87th aeon, there were 4 named Mahidika, will-turning kings with great power, possessors of the 7 gems, the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Kanaverapupphiya Thera spoke these verses. The legend of Kanaverapupphiya Thera is finished. (163). Khajjakadāyaka. In the past I gave some fruit then. To him, Tissa, the blessed one, I gave coconut and also sweet meats such as were fit for him. And giving that to the Buddha, to Tissa, the very great sage, pleasure-seeking I delighted, being reborn just as I wished. In the 92 eons since, I gifted him that gift back then. I've come to know no bad rebirth. That is the fruit of giving fruit. In the 13th aeon ago, there was a king in Dasama, a wheel-turner with great power, possessor of the 7 gems, the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Khajjakadāyaka Thera spoke these verses. The legend of Khajjakadāyaka Thera is finished. (164). Desapujaka. Athadasi, the blessed one, the world's best one, the bull of men, having risen into the sky, was going through the air back then. I did puja to the place where the teacher had been standing when he, the sage so great, rose upward, feeling well pleased by my own hands. In the 1800 eons, since I saw the great sage back then, I've come to know no bad rebirth. That's the fruit of region puja. In the 1100th aeon, I was known as Sujata, a wheel-turning king with great strength, possessor of the 7 gems, the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Desapujaka Thera spoke these verses. The legend of Desapujaka Thera is finished. (165). Kanikacchadaniya. The Sambuddha named Vesabu, the world's best one, the bull of men, the sage entered a great forest to take a rest one afternoon. Having plucked dinner plate flowers, I made him a canopy then. Making that floral canopy, I gifted it to the Buddha. In the 31 eons since, I offered those flowers to him. I've come to know no bad rebirth. That's the fruit of Buddha Puja. In the 20th aeon hence, there were 8 kings named Soba, will turners who had great power, possessors of the 7 gems, the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Khajjakadāyaka Thera spoke these verses. The legend of Khajjakadāyaka Thera is finished. (166) Sappidāyaka. The Blessed One then, named Phussa, sacrificial recipient, hero, was going on the road, making many reach nirvana. After a while the Blessed One came into my own presence then, and I, taking his begging bowl, gave him some clarified butter. In the 92 eons since, I gave him that ghee at that time. I've come to know no bad rebirth. That is the fruit of giving ghee. In the 56th aeon hence, there was one named Samādapaka, a wheel-turning king with great strength, possessor of the 7 gems, the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Sappidāyaka Thera spoke these verses. The legend of Sappidāyaka Thera is finished. (167) Yuthikapupphiya. On Kanaverapupphiya river's bank, while traveling along the stream, I saw the self become one there, like a regal sal tree in bloom, carrying a jasmine flower. I then approached the sage so great, happy with pleasure in my heart. I gave the Buddha that flower. In the 94 eons since, I did that flower puja then. I've come to know no bad rebirth. That's the fruit of Buddha Puja. In the 67th aeon, there was one named Samādapaka, a wheel-turning king with great strength, possessor of the 7 gems, the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Yuthikapupphiya Thera spoke these verses. The legend of Yuthikapupphiya Thera is finished. (168) Dussadāyaka. In lovely Tavara city, I was the son of the king then. After having received a gift, I gave it to the calm Buddha. The Blessed One accepted it. He touched the cloth with both his hands. After accepting Siddhartha, then rose up in the air, the sky. When the Buddha was going away, that cloth flew off behind him then. I brought pleasure to my heart there. The Buddha is the top person. In the 94 eons since, I gave that cloth to him back then. I've come to know no bad rebirth. That is the fruit of giving cloth. In the 67th aeon, there was a wheel-turning monarch, a lord of people with great strength, known by the name Parasuddha, the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Dussadāyaka Thera spoke these verses. The legend of Dussadāyaka Thera is finished. (169) Samādapaka. In the city Bandamati, there was a large multitude then. I was most excellent of them, and they were all my companions. Having called them all together, I then promoted good karma. Let's build the unsurpassed merit field, the monks' assembly, a building. Those followers of my wishes agreed by saying, "Excellent." And when they finished the building, we gave it to Vipassī then. In the 91 eons since, I gave him that building back then. I've come to know no bad rebirth. That's the fruit of giving buildings. In the 59th aeon hence, there was one lord of the people, a wheel-turning king with great strength, known by the name of Avaya, the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Samādapaka Thera spoke these verses. The legend of Samādapaka Thera is finished. 170. Pañcanguliya, the blessed one known as Tissa, the world's best one, the bull of men, the sage, inside his scented hut, was wholesomely passing the time. Taking a garland and some scents, I went to the victor's presence. Quietly on the blessed one, I made a scented palm print then. In the 92 eons since, I offered those perfumes to him. I've come to know no bad rebirth, the fruit of a scented palm print. In the 72nd aeon, I was the king Sampaba, a wheel-turner with great power, possessor of the 7 gems, the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Pañcanguliya Thera spoke these verses. The legend of Pañcanguliya Thera is finished. The summary: Supari and Kavar, Khajjaka, Desapujaka, Kaikra, Sappidāyaka, Yuthika, Dussadāyaka, Ma and Pañcanguliya, 4 and 50 verses. The Supāricariya chapter, the 17th.